it going, Dave?
Doing well. Happy you had a chance to join us today. Looking forward to this conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Oh, it's great. Let's get going with it.
Let's
First
do
of
it.
all, congratulations. As you might be aware, you have a new album coming out, Dirty Damn Tricks. It's coming out March 26th, and I'd love to hear all about it. Tell me a little bit.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're so excited. We've been writing a lot of these songs for quite some time. The oldest one on there is called Peace of Mind. It was actually written in the summer of 2016. So this album's kind of been a long time coming. Many of the songs are much newer than that. The first single we released, Mr. Danger, is one example of one of the ones that's much newer. That was written last summer. And we went through a lot of lineup changes, went through a lot of band changes. Most notably, we changed lead singers. We got Alvy Robinson in the band last summer. So that would have been, I think, July or August 2020 is when he was officially in. And literally 4 days after he was in, we were in the studio recording the vocal tracks for Dirty Damn Tricks. And we finished it within a couple months. And now, we're 6-7 months past the time of him joining the band and the album's coming out. So we moved really quick. We're really excited about it. And just really can't wait to get it to the world.
That is amazingly fast for anybody to join a band and kind of pick up on the songs. 4 days. He must have had some time with the music prior to that. He was aware of it at least.
Yeah, we sent him some tracks for him to listen to, see if he'd be interested in the project and that kind of thing. So, and we were in the process of finishing writing those last couple, for the album. But basically, as soon as he joined, it was time to get to work, and we didn't waste any time because we had originally planned to do the same thing with the other guy, but that didn't work out. So, we're onward and upward. It worked out.
That's amazing. The timings, it all just falls together sometimes. It turns into the luckiest of moments. I read in your bio, you commented that this all came together in like 6 months. You finished your lineup with the band. You started recording the music. Of course, you got the record coming out of all that. It seems like it's overnight, although I know that it's not. Having been a musician myself, I know you put in a lot of years worth of work. Just talk about how this all kind of mushroomed and all just sort of came together so quickly.
It's funny. Things are definitely happening faster now, but they weren't for a long time. We put in I guess you could say the official start of the first time we played a gig as the LA Maybe. And it wasn't even original music. It was all variety music with a couple of instrumentals thrown in. We do 3-hour shows playing everything from Bruno Mars to Guns N' Roses to Train to Aerosmith, whatever it was that the crowd needed that night. And that started in we were rehearsing for that the end of 2018, and then 2019 we had 40, 50, 60 shows, nothing crazy, but we did get around as that variety band all through 2019. We were planning to do the same thing in 2020, and then the pandemic hit, which ended up being so all of our shows got canceled, and it ended up being the best thing that could happen to us because we stopped and we we didn't really like doing the variety band thing too much anyway. We were writing all this original music. We wanted to focus on that, and we just decided to forget all that stuff. Let's just focus on our stuff. We ended up parting ways with our old singer, like I said, getting the new guy, Alvy. He's still the new guy in the band, getting him in, and it really worked out. So we're really excited. It does. I mean, I understand how it seems like an overnight thing. Success might be a strong word, but it's an overnight thing. And but yeah, we've all been growing up, coming up, bands, all sorts of bands, performances, all kinds of stuff. So. But for this project alone, it's been, I'd say a solid 2-3 years. And we had the idea for it back in 2016, but we didn't know what kind of band we'd be. We just had the name, the LA Maybe, and a couple of guys that wanted to play together. And we were like, do we do rock? Do we do pop punk was something we were leaning towards. And then we just decided, this kind of classic rock vibe is really where we all feel the most comfortable, what we all like the most. So we went hard in that direction. And of course, finding Alvy. We found him because he used to sing sings in a Guns N' Roses tribute band. So we figured if we can find someone that can sing Axl Rose's parts, they could probably sing our parts. So it worked out, and we're really happy about that.
Seems like a great fit. His voice is it's an appropriate match for the music. It really sounds great. The little bit of the album that I have heard, I haven't heard the whole thing, but the little bit of the album that I have heard it comes across well. The classic rock sound is certainly hot at the moment, and I'm sure you're going to shake it up even more. Your first single is Mr. Dangerous. Talk a little bit about choosing that song and putting the video together and so on.
Absolutely. It's funny you say it's hot right now. because this is kind of like something we've been working on for a long time.
Yeah.
And it just worked out. We just got lucky because when we started writing this stuff, I had no idea if it would work. Some of these songs I've had, like I said, for a while, no idea if it would work. I didn't know if anyone would want to hear this kind of music. And then Greta Van Fleet blew up in like 2017-ish.
Yes.
That was a year and a half after I'd started writing some of these songs. And when they blew up, I was like, aha, okay, this will work. People want this kind of music still. They want the classic vibe. And we'll just keep trucking. So yeah, but Mr. Danger itself, definitely the most AC/DC inspired. I had my other guitar player Drizzle in the band. He came over and we were working on. He's really big into like fixing guitars and tweaking stuff and gear and production and all that stuff. So he was over helping me with some of that stuff. And I just kept banging out this riff, and there was that first riff in the song, the da 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 da. And I thought it had an AC/DC vibe to it because it's the chords they like to use, A, G, and D. But it had something a little different to it. It's in an odd meter. It's in 6/4 time, and it alternates between 6/4 and 4/4. I don't know how into the weeds you want to get, but that's what we're doing.
It's all good.
And that kind of gave it a little bit of a spin to me. It wasn't quite AC/DC because it's not quite as like just straightforward as their music was. And then I really wanted to drop into a really hard AC/DC style riff, which ended up becoming the verse. But of course, the song evolves over time. We go to some different stuff in the pre-chorus you wouldn't hear AC/DC do. And then the chorus itself is almost reminiscent of like pop. We have harmonies, and we're big fans of Journey. So lots of that kind of stuff goes on. And the chorus kind of leans more pop. A lot of our choruses across the whole album do that. So we'll have, heavier rock, hard rock elements, ripping guitar solos, but then a big pop hook that you can really latch onto and you can really sing along to. And our goal with that was to kind of try to bring everyone together. So you kind of have, people may not really care so much about the shredding guitar solo, but that's in there for the guy that does. But they can all sing along to that chorus,
You got Sucker Punch is the next song up. It's looks like the release is February 26th. Haven't heard the song yet, so I'm looking forward to it. Tell me a little bit about the song itself.
Okay, so this is the one that does not sound like AC/DC. So it's for all the comments we got being like, oh, these guys are just AC/DC ripoffs and blah, blah, blah. We kind of knew we'd get a little bit of that leading because of two elements. One, Mr. Danger sounds, it's the most AC/DC sounding thing on our record. The other songs don't delve into that territory quite as much. Some elements might. And also we have the angle of Alvy has a history with AC/DC. He was one of 4 singers to audition to replace Brian Johnson back in 2016. And of course, Axl Rose ended up getting the gig, but he was one of 4 singers to do so. Now, some people were kind of like, I want to emphasize, it wasn't like a cattle call. Like there weren't like 6,000 people waiting in line to do this. Like he was hand chosen by that band, AC/DC, and they flew him down to Atlanta. He auditioned with the guys themselves. It wasn't like singing, for the manager or something. And so we definitely have that angle in history with AC/DC ourselves now because of that. So those two things combine to make people really think we sound like AC/DC. But Sucker Punch goes the other way. It's really fast. It's a fast, hard-hitting rock song. Again, big pop chorus with big harmonies and all kinds of stuff. It's a lot of fun. I can't wait for you guys to hear it.
I like that you're showing the span because it is easy to get pigeonholed, especially with a sound. If you're going to identify with AC/DC, it's easy to say, that's just another one of those AC/DC type bands. But when you show the span, when you get across there, now you got a couple songs out. That's exciting, and it's also important because it opens doors for you. It really does.
I would encourage people not to judge us too fast. I'm not going to be the hipster that sits here and says, "Oh, none of our music sounds like anything you've ever heard." It's all rock and roll. You get that, but it doesn't all sound like AC/DC. And I think that's an objective opinion. I don't think anyone with any sense in their head could listen to all 10 songs and say we're an AC/DC ripoff. If you just heard the one, I mean, maybe I see your argument, but I don't like the term ripoff anyway. But we definitely wear our inspirations on our sleeves. So, and we're excited by that. So we just write the music that excites us. And Sucker Punch definitely goes a different direction. And then a lot of other songs on the album go a lot of other different directions. So we're kind of doing a lot of different things. And there has been an element of frustration to leading with Mr. Danger, which was a deliberate choice. We steered into that. But then having to wait a full month, before we can start showing people like, hey, there's more to us than that. But anyway, we are where we are. So I'm excited about that.
Well, I'm sure as you're waiting for it, it seems like forever. But when you look back a year from now, you're going to go, oh, it was just moments, moments.
That's what we have to tell ourselves. A month in the moment seems so long. And then you look, over 10 years, it's like, what was a month? month was nothing. We could have waited 6 months, it would have been nothing. You know what I mean? So we're on the release track that we've scheduled for ourselves, and that's where we are.
So it was kind of fun for me to read that this lineup of the band has never performed, never played live. It's kind of interesting, but it makes complete sense given COVID and everything else that's happening in the world. Are you looking forward to getting on that stage with everybody? You must be. And is there any light at the end of this tunnel? Do you see any opportunities in the future here?
Yeah, absolutely. We have one show booked already. It's in March, just before the album release. So it's actually going to probably kind of serve as an album release party. It's March 19th. That'll be at, and the album comes out March 26th. It's at the Blind Tiger, which is a decent sized venue in Greensboro, North Carolina. So it's a nice hometown show. We're from Charlotte. It's like a couple hours away. And we do have that going for us. So right now we're in the middle of rehearsing because, yeah, we haven't performed together. We haven't even really rehearsed together up until, we have a couple times, but we got Alvy and he jumped straight into the studio. And that was really his first time being in the studio. He's been, all of us have tons of live experience performing on our own. It's not like, we're green and we're coming to this and we don't know what we're doing. Like we all have a wealth of experience doing stuff. We all perform a lot, and but just never as a unit. So I will say the rehearsals are feeling really, really good. And we will be playing at that show in March. We will be playing the entire album top to bottom, not a cover in sight. So we're excited about that. And we can't wait. Again, we're just kind of waiting, ready to go. We're like those, I guess, horses or bulls, when they're right before the rodeo thing opens. I don't know the right words. But we're ready to burst out of that gate. And as soon as we get a chance, we're going.
I imagine you're going to. You mentioned the word performance a lot in your dialogue here. And I've noticed that your band, it's more than just standing there and playing. You guys move. You guys have a lot of, the video depicts you as being very energetic on stage, and the performance of the music, not just playing the music, but the performance of it. So talk a little bit about that importance.
Yeah, I think in rock and roll, that's honestly half the battle, maybe even more. You could sacrifice some of your technical ability and trade it in for some showmanship, and you would be better for it on the rock and roll stage. Now, there's some cases where that might not be the case. If you're recording a violin part in a studio for a film score, you don't want to do any showmanship. You want to nail that part 10 times out of 10. But live, for a rock band, you miss a few notes, but you were doing a cool trick and everyone dug it. No one knows you missed those notes. And the show is better for it. So that's something we try to keep in mind. Obviously, we play to the top possible, levels that we can, which thankfully in this band, we're a group of monster players. So I'm really excited about that. We can take things, all of us are music instructors. So we all work as a group together. 4 of the 5 instrumentalists, there's 6 of us total. Albie's the singer, 5 instrumentalists. 4 of the 5 of us teach for the same company, Bold Music in Charlotte, North Carolina. And so we know each other well. We play off each other well, and we are able to jam just about anything. You will hear us in our rehearsal spaces. We'll be jamming death metal. We'll be jamming country. We'll be jamming, through the variety band. We've been playing lots of Bruno Mars, Backstreet Boys, pop, all kinds of stuff you would never expect. And we can pull that stuff out at the drop of a hat, and we love to do it. It's so much fun. So some of those elements, I will say, to kind of tease you, some of those elements do end up in our live show. We definitely have some fun with showcasing different things and different parts of different songs, and giving each performer a moment to kind of show what they can do. Often in a rock band, you might have one guy who's really good and the rest just kind of support. That's not the case in this band. Everyone in this band can hold their own on any stage, and you put the 6 of us in a room and some magic happens. So we're really, really excited to get that out there. And we worked up some really cool stuff. Another thing I'll say about the performances is it was important to us to not just regurgitate the album live. If you want to hear the album, buy the album, listen to the album, that's awesome. If you want to see us live, we're going to be adding some other stuff in there. We're going to be extending songs, changing songs, adding things that might not be on the record, and all of that in service to the show. So we have lots of fun little surprises for people. Now, at these first shows, you're not going to be as familiar with the record. The very first show won't even be out, so you won't really know what we've changed and what we haven't. But eventually, I think it'll be really cool to see how we took the songs as they were written and took them to the stage in a way that wasn't just a shot-for-shot remake.
Do you have any songs that didn't make the album that might sneak into the set?
Not that we'll sneak into the set yet, but because they're not quite finished, but we do have, we did pick from about 12 to 15 songs for this album, and we picked what we thought were the strongest 10. So we do have some other songs. and we might have some plans to be releasing those at some point soon after the release of Dirty Damn Tricks, within the next, say, 6 to 9 months. Acoustic stuff, there's some stuff we're talking about. We'll figure it out as it comes. But yeah, there's other stuff in the works for sure. We're always writing, so.
It's all really cool. Well, that's all the questions I got today, Dallas. Is there anything I missed? Is there anything else you want to talk about?
I would just tell people to keep up with everything we're doing. You definitely want to head over to lamaybe.com. We have a full merch store. Sign up for the mailing list, 10% off. It's easy. And we'll save you a little bit of money there, and it helps us out too. So head on over to lamaybe.com. You can keep up with shows, merch, news, all the socials are there. If you want to find us, that's the best place to do so. And Dave, thanks so much for having me. Really appreciate it. Can't wait to hear this when it airs. Thinking my lips is what some walls.